Hi, my name is Nora Hayes. I'm 31 years old, and this was supposed to be my recovery week. Hip surgery, small incision, 10 days of rest. My mom promised she'd stay with me, said she cleared her schedule, that she'd be right here the whole time. But 3 days in, I woke up alone. Empty fridge, full prescription bottle out of reach, and 63 unread messages lighting up my phone. They weren't checking in. They were sharing ski photos from the family cabin I'd paid for. While I lay on the floor, shivering, wondering how long it would take to be found. That was the last normal conversation my family ever had with me. Before we go on, tell me where you're watching from and what your moment looks like right now. A quiet kitchen, a parked car, or a room you finally have to yourself. Echoes of Life is here with you while we turn the next page. Before that night, I thought my family was complicated, not cruel. I told myself we were just busy people who loved each other badly. My mom, Diane, always liked being needed. She ran a small coffee shop and managed everyone's problems. My dad, Mark, worked long hours and avoided conflict. My sister, Tessa, was the golden one. Loud, charming, always so busy. And I was the reliable one, the fixer, the one who made things easier for everyone else. When I told them I needed hip surgery, they acted shocked, concerned, almost proud. Mom said she'd move in with me for a week. She made a color-coded schedule for my meds, texted about soups and grocery lists, told the nurses she'd handle everything. I believed her, because I always did. The morning of surgery felt strangely calm. My dad brought coffee. My sister showed up late with a latte and a selfie. "Brave girl," she said, already halfway out the door. When I woke up, groggy and aching, Mom was there. Scrolling, smiling, saying not to worry, saying she had it covered. She helped me upstairs that first night, stocked the fridge, set my phone on the charger, kissed my forehead and said she'd be back early. I didn't question it. I never questioned it. Because this was our pattern. They promised. I adapted. They disappeared. I adjusted. Growing up, I learned to be low maintenance, grateful, useful, the one who didn't ask too much. I handled forms, solved problems, made things smoother, and every time I did, they called me strong. I didn't realize strength had quietly become my job. 3 weeks after surgery, I started writing everything down. Not for a lawsuit, just so I wouldn't forget again. The file was called Things I Don't Want to Forget. I listed what I paid for, what I promised, what they forgot. The cabin was first. They called it our reset place, said it was all of ours. But the mortgage, utilities, and insurance were in my name. When the water heater broke, I paid it. When my sister's dog chewed the deck screen, I fixed it. When winter storms knocked power out, I coordinated repairs from work. Nobody even said thank you. Then there was Tessa's boutique. She had big ideas, but no clue. I built the website, wrote the copy, handled the POS and Shopify setup, filed the EIN, connected Stripe to her business account. Every password, every tax code, mine. Mom once said, "You've always been so good at boring parts." Dad laughed. Free consultant in the family. Except I wasn't consulted. I was assumed. I pulled up the cabin's joint account. Every auto payment, every emergency charge, mine. The only deposit not from me was a $37 Venmo from Rachel. It said, "For wine lol." I stared at it too long. They kept sending group texts, photos of new throws for the cabin, dinner parties, a snow globe collection I'd never seen before. Not once did anyone ask if I could walk yet, if I had groceries, if I'd figured out the shower faucet without falling. I got my first medical bill the day they posted hot tub pictures. $130 out of pocket. They captioned it, "Much needed recharge." Family is everything. Every time my phone buzzed, my body tensed. Then came the night their electric bill hit a past due warning. The one I'd been quietly covering for years. I opened my banking app and saw the overdraft warning. I screenshotted it. Then I pulled up every autopay portal I'd ever touched. Cabin Wi-Fi, cabin power, insurance, even Tessa's shipping label subscription. My card sat there like a spare key. I sat at the table in the dark, watching numbers talk louder than words ever had. Their family reset spot had my fingerprints all over it. If this were your family, would you stay quiet to keep peace? Comment 1 to keep paying, just to avoid another fight. Comment 2 to finally say no and reclaim your space. 2 weeks later, the lawyer emailed me a draft letter. It was plain, and that's why it worked. It said I was withdrawing consent for shared debts. It said my autopays would stop immediately. It said the cabin needed a fair buyout or a sale. I signed with a hand that still shook. Then the attorney hit send. That afternoon, I logged into every portal I remembered. Cabin internet, cabin utilities, insurance, the joint account overdraft protection. I removed my card. I printed confirmations. I saved screenshots in a folder called Receipts. They got back from Mount Hood halfway through my paperwork. The next morning, my mom finally called. Not to ask about my hip. She asked why the electric company sent a past due warning. Her voice was sharp and businesslike. "I thought you were handling that," she said. I stared at my crutches by the couch. "I was," I said. "I'm not anymore." There was a long, stunned silence. Then she said my name like a threat. "Nora, we are family," I said. "Family doesn't leave me post-surgery for a ski trip." I texted her the customer service number. Then I hung up. The next day, my dad, Mark, showed up unannounced. Heavy knock. No hello. He walked in and scanned my living room. Legal papers on my coffee table. He held up a letter from the mortgage company. "What is this?" he demanded. "You're trying to force us to sell." I kept my voice flat. "You can buy my share at market value. Or we sell and split it." He laughed once like I'd told a joke. "You'd do this over one trip?" I looked at him steady. "This isn't one trip, it's the pattern. It's years of you leaning on me." He stepped closer. "You're being dramatic," he said. "Your mother is stressed." "Tessa is stressed." I pointed at my bruised knee. If I'd fallen worse, nobody would have known. "You were busy taking ski photos." His jaw tightened. He tried to push past me, like the argument lived inside my apartment now. I blocked the doorway with my body, crutch in one hand, doorframe in the other. "Leave," I said, not loud, not angry, just final. He stared at me like he didn't recognize me. Then he walked out. The door clicked shut behind him. My phone buzzed with a text from Tessa. "What did you do?" Then another. "Call me now." I didn't call. I opened my folder instead, and added one more screenshot to the pile. That was the moment they realized I was not their safety net anymore. The fallout didn't come with sirens. It came with late notices and panic. 3 days after Dad stormed out, Tessa texted me at 6:12 a.m. She wanted the login to her business spreadsheet, the one I built years ago. Orders, expenses, returns, taxes, all the boring parts she never touched. "I need it now," she wrote. "I have a sponsor deadline." I replied, "I exported everything. Set up your own system going forward." Her next texts came fast. Accusations. Caps lock. "I trusted you." "You're sabotaging me." I typed one sentence and stopped. "I'm not sabotaging anything. I'm just done working for free." By the next week, the family chat lit up again. My screen filled up like an alarm. Missed calls, voicemails, 63 messages stacked on top. Every line said, "Pick up." Not one line said, "I'm sorry." My mom sent a long paragraph, not an apology, a lecture. She said I was punishing the family. She said we needed a break. Then she got to the real fear. The cabin mortgage company called. They said they couldn't refinance without my income, without my credit score. "You're going to make us lose our place," she wrote. "The only thing that brings this family joy." I read it twice. Then I opened my notes file. I added, "They missed the cabin, not me." My dad tried a softer angle. He asked if I'd accidentally turned off autopay, like I'd bumped a button by mistake. I said, "No. I did it on purpose." He went quiet. Then he said, "So you're really doing this?" I answered, "Yes." And I ended the call. They kept sending emergencies, past due bills, sponsor drama, a truck repair, a coffee shop, slow season, red stamps on envelopes, notifications from utility apps, Tessa's voice notes, breathless and angry. My mom's guilt texts, ending in, "Call me, please." They all wrote like I was their help desk, like I was still assigned to fix it. But I didn't argue anymore. I sent my attorney everything. Screenshots, emails, dates. I let the paperwork speak for me. The mortgage company sent formal options: buy out my share at fair market value, or list the cabin and divide the proceeds. My parents stalled. They tried guilt. They tried anger. They tried silence. None of it changed the numbers. A month later, I got the update in writing. The cabin would be listed. Not because I demanded revenge, because they couldn't carry it without me. I stared at the email, feeling grief in one hand and relief in the other. And for the first time, their panic wasn't my responsibility. By spring, I could walk without crutches. Just a faint ache when I moved too fast. Portland's rain softened into drizzle again. The cabin had a pending offer. My attorney confirmed my share would be wired to my account. My mom treated it like a funeral. Tessa treated it like an attack on her brand. My dad kept it short. Hope your hip is better? Nothing else. Not one of them wrote, I'm sorry. Not for the ski trip. Not for the silent group chat. Not for leaving me to crawl across my own floor. But something did change. Me. I moved out of that third-floor walk-up. I found a smaller place with an elevator. Wide hallways. Real light through the windows. I signed the lease myself. I paid the deposit with money I used to keep just in case. I set up new accounts and new auto-pays. Only my name. No shared utilities. No cabin charges. No mystery withdrawals. That clean list felt like breathing again. I started therapy too. I told the story like a report. Dates, calls, screenshots. My therapist called it a role. The fixer. The one who keeps everyone comfortable. She said boundaries can feel cruel to people who benefit from none. Mr. Lopez kept bringing my mail upstairs. My friends kept checking in. They didn't need my credit score. They just cared if I was okay. Sometimes I still see those 63 messages in my head. Not love. Panic. They weren't scared for me. They were scared of life without my support. Now I know the difference. Love doesn't leave you alone after surgery. Love doesn't call you selfish for protecting yourself. I didn't stop saving them to punish them. I stopped saving them to finally save myself. If any part of this felt familiar, please like, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Life. And stay with us for more stories of quiet strength and hard-won freedom.